Today we're going to take a look at the GTX 1080 Ti from Aorus, which is Gigabyte's new spin-off brand that is their premium line of parts. And is this GTX 1080 Ti a premium graphics card? Well, let's find out. Welcome back to Tech Yes City, and today we're going to take a look at the binned Aorus graphics card. That's right, so Gigabyte binned these GTX 1080 Ti's. They put them through their gauntlet processing, and this is their best 1080 Ti out on the market at the moment. Now it has two 8-pin connectors, so it does provide a bit of extra power than a typical Founders Edition card. And it also has a much higher power limit of 150%. And now this does come into play when comparing it to the Founders Edition card. So first of all, I'm going to show you guys some benchmarks, and then we'll talk a lot more in depth about this graphics card. So as we could see from those benchmarks, this GTX 1080 Ti Aorus card was just absolutely killing it. I was surprised with the numbers I was getting, especially when I compare it to my 1080 Ti that I've actually gone back and put an Accelerow on, and this Aorus card is just beating that left, right, and center. It is clearly a binned card, and it clearly does overclock higher. I was able to get this thing to 2.12 gigahertz on the core, and then the memory went over 12 gigahertz effective, and this just made for some extremely good benchmarking and also testing on when I was doing the games. But one thing I will point out here is that power target of 150%. It does come into play when benchmarking and when also playing games if you are an enthusiast overclocker. And that's one thing I want to talk about. I test these cards overclocked because I want to test them for the enthusiast line of people that are looking to buy this graphics card. And since the Aorus card does come in 50 USD more expensive than the Founders Edition cards, people are going to look at why they should justify that extra $50 when they're purchasing a card like this. And the first reason is those higher limits. Not only that, you have the VRM to support those higher limits. We got a 12+2 phase power design with FDMF Fairchild MOSFETs here, the 6823Cs, which are rated at 45 amps up to 135 degrees. That's right, these are the real deal when it comes to the MOSFETs. Then you've got surface mount tantalum capacitors on both sides of the graphics card. So on the rear it's cooled by the backplate, and on the front it's cooled by the active cooling solution. However, for the chokes you've also got 12 R22 Magic chokes there to provide just such clean and stable power to the core itself. And then for the memory, you've got two dedicated phases of their own. And now moving on to the cooling solution, this was where things even get better with this graphics card. You've got a triple slot cooler, so it is extremely large. The cooler itself, that's when I detach it from the actual PCB, weighs in at over 1 kilogram. And it's got 3 dedicated active fans on the front there, which are PWM controlled, and they can have the ability to turn off when the graphics card is in idle. You also have the ability to set custom fan profiles on this graphics card, and it does remain quiet even with the custom fan profiles, or at least it remains not as loud as some other solutions out there. On the stock fan profiles and out of the box settings, this card overclocks over 2 gigahertz on the core, and the memory even has a little boost of its own. And they were giving me scores similar to my Founders Edition max overclock in 3D Firestrike, which is incredible considering this thing is just whisper quiet out of the box. And then when overclocked with a custom fan profile, it's even not that loud either. So I'll let you guys have a listen quickly. As for temperatures, this is where I was very impressed too. I managed to get 64 degrees maximum temperatures after a good 30 minutes plus in heaven. This is my typical benchmark for testing temperatures, and this is with the active fan profile at 26 degrees ambience. So it performed just only a little bit behind the Accelerow, but keep in mind the Accelerow is using some custom metal thermal paste there on the cooler to the actual card itself. Now there's actually some custom software included with the Aorus card, and it's actually needed in order to overclock better in my opinion, with it having the ability to unlock the voltage and gain an extra 100 millivolts on the core. So this is pretty crucial if you want to edge out that extra stable overclock in my opinion, as MSI Afterburner won't allow you to unlock the voltage as of yet. Maybe they'll release an update later. Though as for the software itself, it was actually pretty good. You also need this software to change the aura lighting on the graphics card itself, or the RGB lighting that can switch in different modes from static to breathing to flashing and even to cycling through GPU temperatures, but you will need an extra connector to do that, I believe. However, on that note of the software, you can save profiles. You can also manually overclock, and there are graphs to tell you what maximum temperatures and core speeds you reached, similar to Afterburner, except Afterburner does include River Tuner, which is a really good software for live monitoring how your frames are performing and how your temperatures and power consumption is performing too. And also the last part of the software is that you can pick from 3 different preset profiles. That is silent, gaming, and overclocked modes. And the overclocked mode itself is that mode that did perform really well out of the box and was getting speeds to my Founders Edition custom overclocked. Now to cover some last minute things, you do get 2 HDMI 2 outs at the back, you also get 3 display outs and a DVI out too. Also on the other side of the card there is an additional HDMI port there to support people who use VR and also want multi-monitor setups. And the card itself includes a pretty generous 4-year warranty considering how high the power targets are and how high the power consumption got. And now it's conclusion time, and this is where I'm going to make the main comparison to the GTX 1080 Ti Founders Edition card, which as I said before comes in around 50 USD cheaper than the Aorus card, or if you're in Australia it comes in 100 AUD cheaper, and it performs a little bit worse. The Aorus card, with the extra money that you're going to spend on it, you are getting your money's worth in my opinion. It is just one heck of a card. It overclocks extremely well. You're getting a binned card. You're getting a cooler that remains really quiet and performs extremely well. And then you're getting software that actually works really well too to support that card. And as we saw there, the main component making this card perform better in 4K gaming benchmarks is that power target. When I was benchmarking, I quickly alt-tabbed, just check with River Tuner statistics, and I saw the power limit was going up to sometimes even 140% in games, so that's a good 15% above the Founders Edition card. And this, in my opinion, allows that GTX 1080 Ti Aorus to perform better than the Founders Edition card in a lot of the benchmarks. It was scoring around about a good 8 to 10% faster in a lot of these benchmarks I tested. At first I was pretty surprised because I thought my Founders Edition card was a pretty aggressive graphics card when I put the Accelerow cooler on there. However, the Aorus card just blows that out of the water. It's an extremely good graphics card, and you've got that 4-year warranty to go with that, and so you can just overclock it to Kingdom Come for the next 4 years and you won't have to worry. So that extra money that you're spending is very justified in my opinion. It's an extremely good graphics card that I can recommend to pretty much anyone out there. And also Gigabyte asked me to test the copper backplate as well, which they include on this card, and it did get hot, so it was absorbing heat. It's just when I put a B-Gears fan on there, which is a really good fan, I didn't notice a difference with temperatures dropping or increasing. However, I'll take Gigabyte's word for it. I guess the engineers really know what they're doing, because this graphics card was just one of the best graphics cards I've seen. Though keep in mind it is a 3-slot cooler, so it is really large. However, it will perform really well for those enthusiasts, or even the person who just wants to get an extremely good graphics card out of the box, whack it in, and get really good results. So awesome job from Aorus. I'm really looking forward to what they'll do with their next lineup of graphics cards and whatnot. And if you guys have any questions about the Aorus, then be sure to drop a comment in the comment section below, and also let me know what you think of it. And also on that note, don't forget to hit the like button, and I will catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye. And then even when overclocked with a custom fan profile, where you can save profiles, you can